Greetings, brothers. Welcome to this short report on the quality and quantity of our brother Lieutenant Titus's single-player campaign. The short of the short report. The Emperor provides.
In this case, he provides a good 6 to 7 hour campaign filled with adrenaline, amazing vistas, and no end to cannon fodder for a trio of brave space marines. Faced with endless hordes of tyrannids, Titus proves himself to be a potent weapon of destruction, especially when he gets a massive upgrade and becomes one of the Emperor's latest brand of expensive miniatures. Or rather, one of the most powerful soldiers of humanity, a Primaris Space Marine. There is much to love about Space Marine 2. It's a great jumping on point for someone who wants to understand the appeal of this fictional universe. Warhammer 40k is bombastic. It is a setting of colossal magnitude, where eternal war reigns uninterrupted, and some of the most fun you can have is on the very front lines with your two best lads and a bolter rifle. This is perhaps the first of Titus's mistakes. He doesn't join the hot conflict against the horrific tyrannies with his best boy crew, as those are unfortunately all dispatched at the game's opening. Instead, he is joined by Karen and Gadriel, both of whom have first names, one assumes, but you'll care about them as much as you'll care about Titus's own. Oh, I'm sorry, I meant Dimitrian. See, no one cares. Karen and Gadriel are understandably suspicious of this sudden blast from the past rejoining the Ultramarines and receiving command over them. Unfortunately for everyone, Titus is characteristically mum on any details that have to do with the reasons behind his sudden transfer, or about any element of his past, for that matter. The conflict there is a thing to be in awe of, not because it is good, but because it is at once so dumb and so quintessentially Space Marine. Them big lads won't open up to one another even when the alternative is a bullet in the head, and of course Chaos, never far from sight, is happy to exploit those fractures. Everything's okay though. Gadriel only almost kills Titus at one point before the two bury the hatchet in the skull of a Chaos cultist, naturally.
What is this? I do not know.
You wish to bring Olga here that you may kill him! Heretic! Heretic! You will betray us, as you betrayed them on Graia!
Lies.
Arrest him! He means to kill her!
Lieutenant! Gadriel, I am no heretic.
You're probably wondering how we got here. Well, anyway, where was I? Oh, that's right. The storyline of this short campaign is a genuine joy to go through. Not because it's a masterful storytelling, but because it embraces the ham of the universe. The stakes are immediate, and they certainly feel enormous to Titus, but at the same time are so negligible to the universe at large that when the chapter master of the Ultramarines shows up, the player can't help but feel that old Khadgar is on a pit stop before he faces up to bigger, scarier threats. The level of the threat here is just big enough to seem overwhelming for Titus at times. When he manages to swim through all the challenges the campaign has for him, there is a real sense of a job well done, of accomplishment, and just in time too. Because no matter how cool the sights are, or how impressive the sheer number of foes on the screen at any one time, how gory the executions, the issue this sequel faces is Titus is just about the most jack-of-all-trades Space Marine you can play in this game. The fact that there is no talent or level-up systems means that you are more or less playing with the same character at the end of the game as you are at the beginning. Weapon unlocks and new maps are all good and nice, but there are only so many of them, and they hold the interest only for so long. But then this is hardly a problem that reflects on the rest of the game. The cooperative multiplayer, in which I have about 5 campaigns worth of playtime at 41 hours of overall playtime, doesn't have this problem. What it has instead is 6 classes, 8 maps, up from 6 at the game's launch, soon to become 9, and 6 difficulties, up from 5. The classes have satisfying unlocks that permit the use of different builds, abilities that feel powerful and like game changers, weapons that can be upgraded and come into various alt versions which allow the player to define their playstyle. Titus has none of that. Examined through this perspective, his romp across the star system has the status of a weapons demo, a lengthy theme park that shows you the sights and offers several adrenaline rushes, as well as an engaging, shall we call it, story. Funnily enough, I don't mind that one bit. It was great fun. If anything, I wish that the developers went through the maps from the single-player campaign and updated them a little bit so that they would be usable in the co-op multiplayer. That shouldn't be hard, surely. You can already tag along with a friend on their first go-round of the single-player campaign by taking control of Karen or Gadriel. Those single-player maps showcase, from what I recall, truly awe-inspiring background scenes, and the level design isn't anything to shy away from either. The boss battles they were alright enough, no worse than the boss battles you'll find in the co-op missions. Frustrating little buggers, well worth filling up with bullets. What about the co-op multiplayer? Let's dig into it a little bit further. I've played so much of it, I kid you not. For me personally, it has the staying power of something like Valve's Left 4 Dead 2. I've played it with my friends, I even played solo, and either way I have immense amounts of fun. I've leveled up the Vanguard all the way to the max, level 25, and am well on the way to leveling up the most vanilla of all classes, the Tactical. These are very different classes. The Vanguard is quick, has a massive amount of mobility thanks to his grapnel launcher. The launcher allows Decimus to close the distance with ranged enemies. My preference for the close-ranged melter rifle weapon, which unleashes waves of close to mid-ranged flames, is fantastic at cleaning up rows of Tyranid shooters. The Vanguard never fails to deliver nail-biting combat, the kind of edge of your seat gameplay that might frustrate over a personal mistake, but never lets go. The higher difficulties are a trial and a baptism by fire. Every time my 2 companions and I have gotten through a deadly mission with a single spit of health left, I've felt such indescribable triumph as few cooperative games offer. The Tactical's not half bad either. That class has a wonderful array of ranged weapons, so the fact you're locked to only using the chainswords as far as melee weapons go is a bit of a bummer, though I do not wish to take away from that particular weapon's cool factor. I chose to level the Tactical up for the experience of shooting everything mean and chaotic with a heavy bolt rifle. That's a fun weapon. A fully automatic mid-range rifle that can make Swiss cheese out of just about any number of frustrating little mobs. The Tactical's an absolute beast with it. That said, the Auspex scan is perhaps the most underwhelming, if supremely useful class ability among all 6. You pick a point, you throw a scan, it increases your damage to everyone around the point of the scan, and you can upgrade its length, its damage, that kind of thing. Useful, incredibly so, seeing as it can tear victory from the jaws of defeat. Nowhere near as satisfying as a grappling hook, or as fun as a shield in front of a Gatling gun that increases your damage, say, or a death from above style drop-off with a jetpack and an enormous hammer or power fist. But I quibble. The amount of work the game dev, Saber Interactive, has put into the game since release has been nothing short of impressive, and deserves some applause. The premium content packs they've put out have been met with a more mixed reception, but that doesn't ruffle my feathers none. If they'd paywalled the new co-op content, I might have thought ill of them. But when they're offering cosmetics at a fairly low price point with the full understanding that these cosmetics will appeal only to a minority of die-hard fans, I find myself gracious about the whole thing. If there is one thing I do dislike about the higher difficulties of the co-op, it is that mini-bosses that spawn randomly can be an absolute irritant. Rather than be challenging, foes like the Hellbrute turn into the worst bullet sponges you'll ever meet. I haven't yet tried the game on difficulties 5 and 6. I should, I know. But I can't imagine that those become more fun. As a result, I've taken to cheesing Hellbrutes wherever possible. And I'm far from the only one who does so. A further moment of admiration for Saber Interactive came to me rather recently, when I noticed that the co-op maps displayed an extensive level of modularity during certain sections that I either didn't notice at first or wasn't there to begin with. Patch! With a new map, new paid cosmetics, a bunch of reworks and new systems, and even some PvP goodies is dropping a week from the day of writing this review. About half a year after its release, Space Marine 2 remains a prime co-op offering. It is certainly a fantastic Warhammer 40k title for the exceptional height of its vibes, and is there any word more apt than this to describe Titus's wonderful nonsense? And if the price point is too steep, I'm convinced it's only a matter of time before it drops by 20 to 30% on some Steam sale or other. For my money, Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 was one of the best day one purchases I've made. Or thereabouts. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, share it with your friends, send it to your grandma. Don't forget to subscribe, ring that bell button, and whatnot, and whatever for shall we do if you do not. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Bye!